Man, oh man.
Hello.
Cue the shwoom cafe pouring zoom. And welcome back to the 10 a.m. Medicare Cafe. Have you drank an energy drink recently? You may have drank a rat.
I was telling Ben. Also, hi. We're gonna do a very quick pre-chat since it's already 10, because me and Ben were just sitting here trying to get everything loaded up. I'm Clayton Clemens,
I'm Benjamin Lavis.
and we are filling in with Olivia over at Medicare Con. Carrie not able to be here, so you got the boys.
Con or Medicarian?
Medicare Con Carrie.
Medicare hands.
Carrie Ann's?
Carrie is not there, I don't think.
One of those.
Yeah, one in Vegas. Not all in
They were
Vegas.
both in
yeah.
Vegas.
But it's a safe answer.
Well, I was telling Ben, I was like, man, I just need an energy drink. I've got to get my stuff going today, kind of wake my brain up. And he said, did you know that they found a rat in some Alani?
Yeah.
Sure didn't.
Yeah. Well, let me learn you on a thing or two. There was a huge news story that some lady cracked open her Alani and this weighs different than a normal.
This is a thick energy drink.
You know what this weighs about as if my energy drink had one rat in it. And so she poured it into a drink. Thankfully she didn't drink it. Could you imagine? Just travel with me on this journey real quick. Snap that and you get it, and then just a little rat tail. Oh. I'm not bad on that one, buddy. But she poured it into a glass and ended up can opening the can.
Something was in there.
Rat. Whole rat.
So I'm thinking about making the switch to coffee.
Because you brew that yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's locally sourced by my hands.
That's bean water.
That is bean water. I'm not sure how I feel about bean water, but
I'm gonna make the switch back to rat energy drinks.
Honestly, but yeah, no, it's super. Because then they started thinking okay, there was nothing wrong with the can. It was a sealed can.
Yeah.
So how did the rat get into the can? And the leading theory, this isn't backed by anything. Alani, I'm not sponsored. Don't come after us. But we just assumed there's just a giant vat of their energy drink, and the homie was just chilling. The homie being the rat was just chilling, in there, and then got processed into it. Honestly, it's bad for all parties involved.
No one won here.
No, especially the rat.
Yeah.
He thought he was just chilling,
Tough day.
getting energized for the day, and next thing you know, he was in a can.
The way I looked at Ben when he said, there's a rat, I was, what?
Hey, no one comes to me for serious things. That's why I'm the closer. Cue the trumpet as I run in from the outfield.
That was the other thing we talked about, is needing some sick intro music. Yeah. So we're going to think about that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to Olivia and Carrie and be like, what about insert in random music?
Don't text them.
You can text that number, but
Actually,
it will go
back.
to Olivia, who is not here today. Again, we'll kind of kick off now. My name's Clayton Clemens.
I'm Benjamin Lavis. We already did the pre-chat, but we're going to be talking about how to, as an agent, I don't know why I howled there. How as an agent, you could be making more money, specifically outlining a couple of different bonus styles, how to shift maybe your main focus while selling during kind of a slower time of the year for us. We're coming back in just out of OEP, which is usually a lot of service-oriented aspects, making sure people that if anything changed during AEP going into the new year, any provider swap-ups, anything like that, hopefully the dust has settled.
Yeah.
And Q2 is really a really good time to focus on, okay, what is AEP going to look like? Some of that being some of that higher level planning, but you also still have to have a consistent income stream coming in. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about here today.
Yeah, fishing for some ways to make some more money. So let's get right into it.
Dang, that would have been so cool.
So like Ben was talking about, a bit of our slow season, we say, now that we're outside of OEP, and kind of what do now? That's the classic Clayton phrase
What do now?
What am I selling now? What am I trying to do here? So kind of getting into what we're looking at. It's right now let's focus firstly on our Medicare Advantage slow season.
Yep.
This is 5-star season. This is kind of where you start to see those plans thrive. Because if there is a 5-star plan in that person's area, they're able to hop on that bad boy anytime they want to.
Yeah, as long as they haven't used that election within I believe it's calendar year.
Yeah.
The longer they haven't already switched from another 5-star plan, which
great for them.
Yeah, if they live in a county where they have the plethora of options and multiple 5-star plans, let me know, because I would love to move there at some point, or move my dad there either. So, but yeah, no, exactly how kind of Clayton was outlining. They have that opportunity at any given time, and a lot of those plans, because they're 5-star, are very benefit rich.
Yep.
They have clients on the forefront of their mind, and strongly are a pretty good option most of the time. Which is why you have that year-long enrollment.
Sadie probably hears "What Do Now" more than anyone in the office whenever we're coming up and planning anything together. Yep. I was like, okay, this all sounds great. What do now?
followed briefly after "What do next" is usually a pretty good one. Yeah. So once we know now, then what do we do next? Which kind of even leads us into the next option you guys can be looking for is SEPs, T65, and leaving group. So I know actually I was just talking to an agency yesterday about kind of what their game plan is going to be moving until AEP. They have other lines of insurance that they do in their agency. So a big part of how they're filling some of that lull is making sure that they are a familiar face at all of their commercial and large employer groups. That way, anybody who may be turning 65, retiring, any of these aspects, including SEPs, they know, hey, I can lean on this person even outside of my employer. I can lean on them for my Medicare aspects as well.
For sure. So these might seem like obvious things, but it's more reminders of things to be checking for to still be making some money over on your MA side of your business as well. But something I know you were talking to me about this morning was a really good reminder that I want to make sure you shouted out
Reminded me to remind everybody.
Like, that's good.
Yeah, a big part of the MA things and kind of why we led in and started there is just like Clayton said, it's part of your normal business, but there are aspects of it that can easily kind of get lost in the familiarity of it. One of those being health risk assessments. So anybody who you may be putting on T65, leaving group, SEPs, 5 stars, this is a really big shout out. So if you focus on DSNP, listen for the next 60 seconds. I promise I'll make it worth your time. Those plans specifically, DSNP, doula special needs plans, specifically there is a requirement by the carrier to have a health risk assessment on file for the client that is a part of their plan. If you can do that as part of your process, there's traditionally a pretty decent chunk that they will reward you for helping them get that health risk assessment done. Now, there are some time frames, so definitely make sure that you're reaching out to your upline or the carrier specifically and make sure you're familiar with what that looks like on the time frames from when you're submitting applications. What are those time frames? And then honestly, maybe you can find out what some of the incentive or bonuses for doing those HRAs. The reason we bring this up now is obviously today's the 23rd. The Federal Registry has recently, the 2025 CMS final rule has been published to the Federal Registry today, or should be published today. I think I found it. I was waiting to see if I had actually found the right thing. So that's supposed to get released today at some point, and big part of that conversation had to do with broker compensation, which includes HRAs. And we will likely see, again, a lot of this is still to be decided on, carrier interpretation.
Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of conversations over the next month plus about how this is going to affect everyone. But to keep in mind, HRAs and those aspects, those are likely going to be disappearing. And so take advantage of them while you can. And not only will it benefit you financially, but the carriers and the clients themselves, once they have a better understanding of your health and the risk assessment tied to you, that data actually really helps those plans and those carriers understand how to best take care of the people that are on their plans. So
for sure. So definitely make sure that you're filling those HRAs out. whatever they want to call them, HRAs, HSAs.
VBE, value-based enrollment, is another
a bunch of different
one.
terms for those, but those are a huge way to just throw some extra money into your marketing plans, whatever that you're already doing, to take things that were, okay, this is my base pay, I know I'm getting this, get that extra level of stuff coming into your agency. And it's kind of that, just use it up while you've got that opportunity. So, be checking that stuff out, and then we'll get into our next little bit here.
I wanted to throw real quick before we jump. Like, if I know these things seem like pretty familiar aspects to most agencies and most people, but this is also an area, if you're not already finding people who are leaving group, turning 65, have those conversations, develop. I mean, I'm taking the place of Carrie today, so I have to speak about strategic alliances.
There you go.
Make sure you're plugging in with the financial advisors, the employer groups. Just about anybody in any group could be an arm's length away from a senior or beneficiary that you could be helping. So now's a really good time to be formulating those. It would give you about 6 months of consistency and creating that relationship before to start making some of those asks towards September and October. So keep that in mind as well if you wanted to take it a marketing strategy way. Nope, I think I missed one. There we go.
Yeah, so then we'll talk more about the other side of the business with it being Med Sup time. This is obviously something that you're able to do all year. We're not tied to any of those enrollment periods, anything like that. We can underwrite and get people on there normally. The big reason I wanted to talk about Med Sups is because of the crazy rate increases we're seeing right now. And this should be something that we're kind of getting familiar with. The way the industry's going right now, those mid-teen rate increases that you might start seeing these notices on are unfortunately going to become pretty normal. We've talked to a lot of different carriers and their actuarials who have said, just start being prepared for double digits to mid-teens being normal.
Yeah.
So when you're going through there, it's not necessarily a panic, let's move to a different carrier, because you won't be able to guarantee that carrier is not going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's more so looking at the carriers that have had a long-standing, stable position. The carriers that are out there that have been in the market for a long time, and you can kind of see where they're at with their loss ratios.
100%.
Because what we're doing is if everybody starts taking 10 to 15% rate increase, then nothing really shifts. It's just everybody's paying a bit more now, which, again, is unfortunate. And I don't want to pretend like it to be an easy conversation to have with your clients, because I'm sure it's not the most fun saying, hey, that thing that you had is now going to cost you more money.
Yeah.
And everywhere else you go is probably going to end up costing you more money, just like everything is these days, it seems like.
Yeah.
So making sure that when you see those rate increases, you're talking to your clients about their options, but also kind of informing them of the lay of the land. Because this is something as an FMO, we hear industry talk a lot. We try to talk to you guys about it, and the clients are not hearing any of that. Yeah. This is not something that industry, or Medicare industry, isn't something that's popping up on their Instagram feeds the way it is mine.
Right, right, yeah.
Like our algorithms as FMO, as brokers out there, are much different than the general consumer.
100%. Yeah. Theirs are filled more with their children and grandchildren and fun things. And that's part of not only our role to the agent, but then your guys' role to the client is informing of some of these shifts.
For sure. So why we're bringing this up is because there's a lot of opportunity to start shifting clients from one plan to another, or to maybe a plan in with the same carrier.
Yeah.
Looking at different ways to help save that client money. But then you might be saying, okay, but like, what's in this for me? I obviously want to help take care of these clients, but if I'm just switching them from one plan to another, we know a lot of the times those might not pay as well. Yep. Or if we're looking at like a birthday or anniversary rule state is what I'm meaning with that. Underwritten though, lots of stuff going on there.
Yep.
You're going to reset your clock with your commissions most of the time. And also there's quite a bit of bonuses going on.
Oh.
So let's look at some of that where we're talking about the different opportunities to get these different bonuses out there. So I mentioned Plan In because some of these that I was seeing as we were just kind of going through, we were looking at a nice chart of different rate increases, different bonuses going on. So definitely reach out to your upline or holler at us if that's something you're interested in. But a lot of these different bonuses are specifically tied to Plan N. I'll give just a little insight on some of these here, but in most states, Humana's doing one for Plan N that's paying a pretty good bonus on there.
Yeah.
So looking at ways to expand your commissions just from doing something that you normally would in your day to day. So kind of going through some of these, it's not necessarily, some of these aren't crazy. You know, some of these bonuses you see, you'll go, oh, okay, well, I have to write 15 med subs in this quarter.
Yeah.
And if you're doing this part-time or if this isn't your main line of insurance, maybe 15 is not a number you're normally going to hit, so these bonuses don't mean a lot to you.
Mm-hmm.
However, a lot of carriers are starting to go to a much lower threshold to qualify, especially for their underwritten ones.
Yeah.
If they're doing something for open enrollment, usually that number is a bit higher.
Yeah, 3, 5, 7, 10, somewhere right around there. But the underwritten ones.
Yeah, like looking through here, we're seeing 3 looks like to be the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
And this one here, I'll shout out Humana because it's just one app to qualify for their bonus.
Yeah.
And they've got quite a few different options out there.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're not just going to, like, since I already shouted out Humana, I'm going to say, obviously, we're not going to write just a Humana plan because I'm going to get paid more.
Right.
But if it's going to fall into a general range that is like, okay, well, this is a big carrier that's stable. The ones around it are kind of, you know, smaller tier companies, maybe B-rated, whatever the case might be. It could make sense to pay that $1 or $2 more to go ahead and switch to a Humana plan where you as the agent is going to be able to receive some extra compensation, but also pass along a big carrier, big brand name to your clients.
I think we've been in a period of time where money has been such the primary focus. And I think we're seeing the other side of that now because it's come back to bite us. We're seeing a cost of living adjustments are being higher, inflation is higher, which is partially why it is harder to pay for things moving forward, not to mention all the loss ratio. There's a really good blog post on the senior marketing specialist, smsteam.net. If you click on the news button, it should be the second most frequent or the second most recent post. Rachel Brandmeier, our VP of Professional Development, actually pieced together a really good trend alert. So I would highly recommend taking a look at that as well. It's going to kind of give some further insight as to why we are seeing these double-digit increases and talks about kind of the loss ratio and where some of that has shifted. I mean, I think Olivia had, when she got back from one of her trips, she was outlining the data. Feels like the turning 65 prices hasn't really changed over the last several years. And so they have just been bleeding money to make sure they have people staying on or coming into their plan. Now we're kind of seeing some of those adjustments. We talk about Plan N a lot, and that's where a lot of these bonuses, you're maybe thinking, okay, well, how the heck do I get on a Plan N? Does my client always have that option? Underwritten, obviously, is going to be the primary way. Some of these birthday and anniversaries may be like to like or like to lesser, so keep that in mind. Yeah. The big one that I think a lot of agents sometimes have a tendency to not always remember that they have this unique feature is with United Healthcare. They have their plan toggle form. And so if you're on something, you can toggle into a Plan N. So definitely something to consider. Right now, Plan G is still arguably, and I think statistically, the most sold plan right now. And we're probably going to see a pretty big shift that Plan N is going to start taking some of that runway and trying to meet up and eventually potentially, speculation here, but surpassing Plan G. A lot of so if you guys as agents are seeing that or are getting pushback, make sure you're having conversations with your upline with us. We would love to kind of see what are your client responses that you're getting when you're suggesting or talking about Plan N. I know some of the big ones are co-pays, or I'm afraid that my doctor, or I may have to pay more because of the excess charges.
Right.
There's a lot of conversation there, and we want to make sure that you guys are equipped to not combat but educate your clients, because there's a lot of stuff that goes out there that isn't always, all that glitters isn't always gold. So making sure that you are providing some good sound reason and foundation for your people to, hey, this is why I'm making that suggestion.
Yeah, so just kind of recap that is just be on the lookout with these. Holler at your upline. Say what kind of bonuses are going on with these carriers that are coming up competitive in your market. That's how whenever I'm looking at the bonuses, when I'm talking to an agent, it's not just, okay, let me go to this sheet. This one's going to pay you the most. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
It's, let me look at the 3 to 5 top carriers in your market and then go look to see if they have any bonuses going on.
Yeah.
So then it just kind of maybe, like I said, a couple dollars different can skew you that way versus another carrier. As long as it's making sense for the client, you guys are all out there. You're here. You're invested in getting better as a salespeople, but also to take care of your clients better. So yeah.
Well, and then some of the zones as well. I mean, a lot of these carriers can alter from, zip code county to county, zip code to zip code. You may see a little bit of fluctuation between who might be a competitive option. I know I talked a little bit about cost and whatnot, but we're going to start seeing the longevity, who has been in the scene for the longest, the name recognition. Some of these other things are going to start increasing in importance to consumers, especially with some of the cost having to not always be as competitive. So yeah, that's some of the things that we talked about here. Double check with the bonuses, both on underwritten, plan N. Just see what your options are with your upline. If you have ever any questions or whatnot, what might be in your area, you're more than welcome to reach out to us as well. We'd be happy to kind of walk you through some of that. But with that being said, is there anything else you can think of?
No, I think that's it. So the main thing is talk to your upline about what's available out there for you. I like to think more about the incentives and extra pay versus the kind of high in the sky goals with the bonus trips and everything.
Yeah.
But that's just because I talk to more agencies that are in that ballpark versus that high level.
Yeah.
If you're an agency out there with a lot of downlines, you also want to start looking at what carriers might take you to Argentina or what was that? Because I know Argentina was one that I saw.
Chile, maybe.
Chile.
I think I saw one for Chile.
But they're taking these people to awesome places. Yeah. I know I was talking to an agency that they went to a nice resort in Arizona.
Nice.
So it's like wherever they might be taking you, if you're that size and doing that kind of level of apps, definitely something to check out as well. But again, just kind of more so focusing on day to day, how I can make more money today. That's going to be, okay, now what do I need to tweak to get my downlines to help me write more where we can get to these big trips? So
it's good to have those conversations too, because if you're right on the cusp, if you could make 1 or 2 more apps per month and hit some of these incentives or these goals, then not only are you bringing in more business, but you get to, reward and award some of your people inside your agency as well. So.
For sure. Well, I'm not seeing very many questions here today.
Good deal.
So we'll just let you kind of get out of here early, I think.
I think so.
Awesome. Okay. Well, until then, have fun.
Make money and give impeccable service. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.